It's May 6th, 2022. I I just started listening to I watched GMA3 earlier. I toggled between The Incredible Hulk, which was my first time really watching it that I can remember or that I can recall. Even though the movie came out in 2008, I was looking for clues for something else. And then I came back to this, and I'm fascinated by this man that they're interviewing. Don't know the man, but nonetheless, the way that they present him, they use several words, and the word pattern and the sentence structure. Like, I literally had to pause the TV to digest it and sit there and really construct what his career path must have looked like no, he's somebody really important. Even though he's just wearing a regular suit, not a three-piece suit, not a shark suit, he's just wearing a regular North American looking, out of a store kind of a suit. The kind that the people that I see wear. And I'm absolutely fascinated by him. And then he uses these words, and I'm like, I wonder if he knows how magical his voice, in like a real way. Because he uses this word bogus. And I'm like, well, that's the answer to your problem, for the answers for which you seek in a I'm not kidding kind of a way. It's the bog, B-O-G, at the U.S. There's currently a problem. I don't know if you see what's sitting at the UN claiming some kind of U.S. and presidency, but it's not Joe Biden. He's in the White House. So this gets confusing with words and with people following directions to what's needed. Just saying.
Welcome back to GMA.
So today's May 6th, 2022. And this is the broadcast for today for GMA What You Need to Know.
A federal judge paused President Biden's rollback of Title 42 last week. That's the COVID-19 health policy that allows for the quick deportation of immigrants.
However, the policy is still set to expire on May 23rd. Now, some lawmakers are sounding the alarm on what that could mean for national security. Let's bring it now to discuss New York Republican Congressman John Cattaruzza, ranking member of the House Homeland Security Committee. Congressman, good to have you back on the program. Is this still a health policy, Title 42? Do you think it's...
Now, my question is all of those entertainers, because I heard the full interview and I will play the whole interview, but like you have Rap City and the Hippity Hop Kids, and then there's the Nashville, but I really don't see them being such a problem. And then you've got the kids in he mentions football. He says a political football. And I'm like, now, would that be the roast beef kind? It used to be pigskin, but now I call it roast beef because it looks like someone's roasting someone's beef and they're just throwing it all around. And then there's the actual one that there's foot contact football, and they're a whole new assortment of problems. What are the kids up to now? Because the linguistics get in the way now that they all get these Lear jets and on these commercial flights and fly their troublesome whatever all over the place with smiles and relationships. It makes keeping hometown safe a real problem. I've been noticing it. I just happen to be in New York City, or close enough to the epicenter.
It's necessary for a health policy for this country, or this is now more an immigration policy?
Well, it's really health policy based, but obviously it's an immigration issue as well. And Syracuse and New York State, COVID cases are up dramatically again.
Now again, remember, He's got this title that takes words, a sentence structure, and a few words to digest just how important his position is. It says ranking member of House Homeland Security Committee on Border Concerns. I would never in a million years figure out how to find this man if my life depended on it with that level of having to guess. Ranking member. Like, the people in my household don't speak like that. I mean, I can understand it because I can read it, and then I can construct it because I've been in the field long enough. But like these, I don't know, do they call them agencies? Do they call them bureaus? Do they call them agencies? I don't even know the right words. It says ranking member, so that usually is indicative of some pay grade, I'm assuming. So that means like he's somebody special, like somebody loved him and showed him the way. Because I didn't get that kind of attention in New York, to get to where I needed to be at someone to look up to and over 6 foot. But I am just fascinated with how on earth was I ever to find the humans I needed when they have these. I mean, you just can't give him like a one. I wouldn't know if to truncate his importance into one title. I wouldn't be able to do it on my own.
Again, so this COVID epidemic.
Oh, but they don't use the word circus. Like, I picked that up along the way, but Lynn and Lou, they don't use the word circus, the word circa, the word circuit. Again, these are multilingual, like language lab. I picked that up. I didn't pick that up at home.
Pandemic is not over, and it's become a political football. But the fact of the matter is, once title.
Oh, and there it is. Political football. Again, more stuff Lou and Lynn don't talk about. But then again, they're not ranking members that I'm aware of. Because Lou's never come home and used these patterns of words. In fact, him and I really don't have these like long, in-depth conversations. And he was an absentee father for most of my life. He was always out doing some kind of business deal in, I don't know.
Title 42 is revoked this month. There's not a single agent on the border who will say anything other than we will lose operational control of the border. And when that happens, things are going to be flooding across. And why that's important? Just see the news from this morning. An Ohio State student died of a fentanyl-laced Adderall that he took studying for exams. That Adderall was produced by drug cartels. It's bogus Adderall that's being put on the market. That's how...
Bogus. That's to bog us down. That also goes back to like the Pete Moss conversation with they take oil and alcohol at some chemical compound, and then that's the stuff the livery system charges, and there's usury. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff going on in the local area.
That's how sophisticated they are, and they're making the money by the crossings that they charge every single person that comes across, and it's pretty dramatic.
Congressman, you yourself traveled down to the southern border just last month. You talked to officials there on the front line. What did you see? What did you hear? And have things changed from previous trips?
Yeah, things have changed, and they've changed in the wrong direction. They've gotten much worse. This thing called special migrant visas or special migrant immigrants coming in are individuals from countries that are hotbeds of terrorism like Iraq, Yemen, Iran, what have you. They're being seized at the southern border in record numbers. And even in El Paso sector alone, there's 5,500 Turkish refugees came across, or migrants came across in the past year. And what that tells us is this isn't about Mexico and the Northern Triangle countries. This is about people from all over the world. 160 different countries now exploring our open borders. Not all of them are good. As we know now, we've fought to get numbers released about the number we've seized at the border that were on a terror watch list in the last year. And that means an equal number probably got through. So the border is being exploited not just by the downtrodden in Central America, but by all over the world. and that's a very dangerous precedent to set.
Congressman, what's the latest information you have in terms of numbers of people who possibly are waiting right now at the border for May 23rd to come?
I swear to God, I hear him, and you know what he sounds like? I'm going to rewind that so this guy in playback, in case he missed it on like the spot at the studio. But you know what he sounds like? He sounds like a Christie's level auctioneer. Like if I was a body broker and I was going to get out of here because I learned in my reporting career that I could do blah, 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 blah. I mean, talk about fast talker. Holy cow. Like selling secrets? Wow. I mean, I don't even get to talk to, and I wouldn't pass that information forward. It would just be for my own edification because I'm so damn confused as to what's going on. But hold on, watch how fast he does
Ready to
this.
flood
In Central America, but by all over the world, and that's a very dangerous precedent to set.
Congressman, what's the latest information you have in terms of numbers of people who possibly are waiting right now at the border for May 23rd to come and are ready to flood into this country?
That is a really specific question. That's really poignant. I mean, for me, it's case in point as to, like, who's feeding outside terrorists and organizations, perhaps from a inside, like, non-suspecting area or arena. I mean, I don't know. Doesn't Pegasus pick up on this stuff on, like, the back end of every phone call and video ever?
Well, the latest numbers, and they're pretty solid estimates, even Homeland Security acknowledges these numbers. Right now, about 5,000 to 7,000 a day are coming across. When Title 42 is lifted, they expect it to be about 18,000 a day. Now, they've all admitted you lose operational control at right around 5,000 a day. And former Democratic Homeland Security appointee Jay Johnson said when he was head of Homeland Security that 1,000 a day coming across is a bad day. And we're up to 5,000 to 7,000 now, and expect as many as 18,000 a day. And that's, you just can't control the border when that happens. And what that does, it allows drug traffickers also to get the drugs in a lot easier because everyone's focusing on the crisis with the people, the human surge at the border, which is.
Okay, I'm just curious because that's a lot to digest. So every mother and father that has a child that is anything over the last 20 years, why is anyone agreeing to funnel money into these inner cities and feed these children once they get in? It's just so confusing. I mean, it's who's giving to these charities blindly? Where is the planning for big cities? Why are they becoming sanctuary cities? Why are they becoming refuse cities? Where is zoning and planning and monetary? Where is the control over the system? Why is it being inundated and nobody's saying anything? Why is nobody coming out to scoop up the kids that want to be helpful and participate in a larger format? How is this going so, like, I mean, why are there people on the field that want to be utilized but are being underutilized? I don't understand.
It's really a recipe for disaster.
Congressman, I want to turn now to the crisis, to the war in Ukraine. You've been very vocal about your belief that the U.S. has not done enough to help Ukraine. President Biden has asked Congress to approve another $33 billion. Will that get through Congress, and what more can we be doing?
I'm confident that if Ukraine needs more help, we're going to get it to them, and they certainly do. My biggest concern is the bottleneck. We need to get that stuff to them yesterday. We can't screw around with getting it to them weeks from now or months from now. Mariupol is a great example. They need the weapons now, and even Germany is coming around. And I think Russia's made a colossal mistake. And I applaud the United States, and I applaud our Western Europe allies. We've all kind of gotten a very strong dose of reality of how dangerous the world is. NATO is going to be stronger because of this, and we're going to help the Ukrainian people fight back this menace. We have to. We have no choice.
And Congressman,
the men ace.
One more thing we have to ask you about, certainly this draft opinion
Sure.
that came out at the Supreme Court. We know where your stance has been in terms of abortion rights. You've declared yourself certainly pro-life, but the way this happened and what this now tees up going into the election year, what do you think about the way this has happened, and what does this mean now going into the midterms?
Well, it's terribly disconcerting. And first of all, I'm pro-life, and that's a personal thing, but I never focus on that in Congress because I want to do things that unite people, and that's an issue that's going to be very difficult for people to unite on, and I understand that. But as far as what's going on with this leak, it strikes at the fundamental core of our democracy because the separation of powers was fundamental to our Constitution. And when someone within the Supreme Court tried to usurp that by creating exactly what they intended to create is happening, and that is this unrest, even before we know what the verdict is something that strikes at the core of our democracy, and that's very troubling.
How does he not know what the verdict is? Your own people are saying that you lose control over the border when it's more than 5,000 and you're like worried about 18,000. What the verdict is, you're in a moving verdict. It's every day you wake up what went wrong. That's what I don't understand.
And as a head of Homeland Security for Republicans in Congress, I'm fielding a lot of calls right now about churches who feel threatened this weekend, Catholic churches, because of stuff on the internet about people wanting to go out and attack Catholic churches this weekend because of abortion. This is having the exact effect.
Now, why are they holding the Catholic Church responsible for abortion? That's confusing.
The fact that that individual leaker wanted to have happen from the Supreme Court, it really strikes at our democracy. It's very troubling.
Well, Congressman, it's always good to have you here with us on the program, and I know you are retiring. You're not having to go through this midterm battle. You said you're done, and want folks to know the guy you're looking at here for the past 3 years, the Lugar Center in Georgetown put out a list of the most...
The Lugar Center. Now, that's interesting at Hockaloogie. Is he talking like Lugar? Like the guy from Starbucks mentioned his whatever had something called a Lugar. And I think he was referencing that it was a service, whatever. But again, me being from No Pistole, I don't really know. It was the first time I had heard about it. I'm like, it sounds vaguely familiar.
Bipartisan members of Congress. You have been in the top 3 on that list for the past 3 years. So I guess that should be something to applaud, and maybe a lot of people would argue you need more like you in Congress, at least with that record that you have. So we do appreciate you being here.
Well, I appreciate that, and I don't want to sound divisive, but I don't do keto recipes. No offense there, but I'm all about bacon.
I don't know what keto is. I mean, there's ketoacidosis. That's for kidney disease and overconsumption of I don't know what, because they don't really teach anything in the local schools to us about nutrition. It's just more consumption, and the disease of consumption is what they seem to promote by withholding information from the children, from learning what they need to about their bodies and all sorts of things. Nutritional standards, chemical interactions.
I just called him bipartisan, and he took a shot. I love it.
Thank you, Congressman.
That was great. All right, folks, stay with us. Up next here on GMA3, the Unsung Hero.
But he's about bacon. Now, is that a Canada reference? I'm just, like, I guess, low man on the totem pole, or I'm, like, late to the game, but I'm thinking he's meaning, if I mince the word, I'm thinking he means Canada. Maybe kind of, sort of. Maybe not all of Canada, I don't know. In, like, a pig Latin kind of a way, where you chop off the end of the word, and then...
Suddenly in the spotlight.
We are talking about your school.
It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way Universe. Galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.